History becomes much clearer when you can see it. Dry facts and narratives often don't leave a strong impression, especially when it comes to events that happened centuries ago. However, with the invention of photography, everything changed. We've gathered a collection of unique images that reveal the unknown or forgotten aspects of life in the past. You may have heard of some of the events captured in these photos, but have never seen them. Or perhaps you didn't even imagine such things took place. In any case, these photos will greatly expand your view of history. Welcome, my name is Ilya. Enjoy watching. The Colosseum in Rome, now as a World Heritage Site, surrounded by a fence, security, and maintenance. But just 120 years ago, the world and Italy didn't care about the Colosseum. No one cared about Rome's heritage, and people were selling oranges near the unprotected ruins, like this wonderful old lady in 1900. A Japanese brothel in 1890. The first photograph arrived in Japan in 1890, giving us this unique image. Brothels in Japan, like samurais and sake, were a national tradition. As soon as the Portuguese opened Japan in the 16th century and managed to penetrate the country, they began visiting geishas in brothels. The incredible boundaries and ancient Japanese art of pleasure drove devout Christians insane and gave charming geishas syphilis. The end of the 19th century marked a rapid progress in scientific achievements. First airplanes, light bulbs, telegraphs, railways, and much more. A simple housekeeper from the US was so impressed by all of this that she bequeathed her body to American science. After a year of meticulous scientific work, her nervous system became a visible educational tool. And when electricity was connected, the housekeeper terrified students. Wild moose as riding animals. Yes, moose can be trained. Back in the 15th century, moose were riding animals in the Swedish army. And in the Russian Empire, a decree from the 18th century forbade appearing in the city on moose, for they are too swift and knock down peaceful citizens. It is known that in the Vologda province of the Russian Empire, moose were domestic and riding animals as late as the mid-19th century. A confectionery company in the US stored its molasses in a giant tank in Boston. To save on maintenance, the tank burst in the winter of 1919, and nearly 9 million liters of sticky syrup-like substance resembling honey or melted sugar poured down on the city at 25 miles per hour. 200 people, horses, and cars got stuck to the sweet substance like flies, and not all of them were saved. America tried to combat alcoholism with Prohibition. During the Prohibition era, high-quality liquor was sought out and destroyed. In this photo, tons of corn whiskey are being poured out by the police after capturing an illegal distillery and its alcohol tanks in Chicago. Does it make you sad to watch this? A woman cheerfully pours whiskey from her cane, 1922. For 13 years, the US had Prohibition, and alcohol was poured out of barrels and mugs during raids. But everyone wanted a drink, including this lady. The largest horse in the world, captured in 1927 in England, named Supreme. An enormous horse, 2 meters tall and weighing 1.5 tons, was as heavy as freight trains. Sophia Loren was the idol of men in the 1960s. Everyone wanted her, but she didn't want anyone, and only acted in films instead of cooking soup and having children. Once, she was accidentally photographed in stockings during a movie shoot like this. And men around the world, from natives to plumbers, wanted Sophia even more. The craftiest dress merchant in history. In 1925, a Belgian shop owner couldn't sell his goods to women. Nothing helped. No street ads, no newspaper notices. Women didn't want his dresses. So, the tired and angry Belgian hung dresses and coats all over a multi-story building overnight to attract attention. The frightened townspeople called the police. The sight of officers removing the cursing merchant from the roof through a sea of dresses attracted the whole town. The goods were sold out in a couple of hours, and the merchant wasn't arrested. No police officer would go out without a bulletproof vest. Today, but in 1923, American Murphy couldn't sell his newly invented bulletproof vest to the police. The officers didn't believe that any contraption could stop a bullet and didn't want to buy his product. Then stubborn Murphy put the vest on himself and stood in front of the sheriff. The sheriff shot. The bullet got stuck. The inventor fell and writhed in pain. But when he regained consciousness, he stood up and handed the police the bullet stuck in the vest. The first fake in the world. In 1918, Francis Griffiths decided to become famous and managed to photograph live fairies in the English forest, with them playing little pipes alongside her. At that time, there were no animation technologies or computer graphics, and the world was shocked by the supposed reality of the fairy world. The girls became rich and famous. Only in 1983, shortly before her death, one of them confessed that it was an elaborate forgery. Africa learned not only to use monkeys in circuses, but also to work for the benefit of humanity. This giant baboon named Joseph worked as a switchman and conductor on the Pretoria Railway. According to textbooks, Baboon Joseph never made a mistake, and fare dodgers disappeared. Such a worker wouldn't hurt us today. When the world started smoking cigarettes and heading toward death from tobacco, athletes considered cigarettes as performance enhancers. They were thought to open up the lungs and make pedaling faster. Tour de France participants weren't an exception, thinking that smoking on the route opened their lungs so they would light up before climbing hills. Their lungs did open, but not in spring. They developed lung cancer. The 1927 Tour de France. People didn't just harness horses, donkeys, and oxen. Basically, any domesticated herbivorous animal could be harnessed to a cart or saddled up for a ride. This is demonstrated by this curly, serious little boy from Germany next to his father's riding pig. This is not a Nazi or a polite Chikatilo. This is not sodomy, but a patient at an orthopedic doctor's appointment. It's unclear what's wrong with such a swan-like back. And the orthopedic doctor grabbed a metal tool with his right hand, while doing something unclear with his left hand. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this video interesting and that you'll want to give it a like. You can also subscribe to our channel. And yes, Jim, if you're watching, come by and finally pick up your shirt. See you soon.